Welcome back to the Blueprint Collective, the place where we talk honestly about what it takes to run a modern practice in the A&E field. Most senior leaders in architecture and engineering firms will tell you that they need to grow their team, they need to delegate more, and get out of the weeds. Most of them have been saying the same thing for 3 years. Today's guest, Josh Stone, was an engineer who became a director at 25 and helped grow the consultancy from 3 million to 30 million. So in this episode, we get into what it actually looks like when a principal or director becomes the bottleneck in their business, not just in the design and delivery, but in client relationships, decision-making, and team confidence. We talk about what it costs commercially, why smart people stay stuck, and what it practically takes to change. I'm Scott Banton. This is the Blueprint Collective. Josh, welcome to the Blueprint Collective. You started out as an engineer, right? And now you coach architects and engineers. Can you tell me the story of how you ended up doing what you're doing today?
Yeah, let's do it. And thanks for the invite, Scott. I'll do the abbreviated version. So graduated uni with double degrees, engineering and commerce, worked for like a really big corporate engineering business straight out of uni, worked for them for about 5 or 6 years as like a site engineer. I got the opportunity to then go and work for a smaller consultancy, I guess 5 years out from kind of graduating. I'd been there maybe a year and they kind of tapped me on the shoulder and just said, would you be interested in being a director and shareholder of this business? I think I was 25 at the time. I think I said yes, but I had no idea what I was doing. So that was a wild ride. Like, it was a really fun journey. We built that business from about 3 million and 20 to 25 staff to, I sold my shares in that business. We were about 30 million, 150 to 180 staff. I think we went through sort of 6 to 8 mergers and acquisitions over that period. I learned heaps about how to grow an engineering consultancy. We started as civil, structural and enviro. And then when I exited that business, we were all disciplines. So engineering, town planning, surveying, architecture, the whole kind of suite with offices up the east coast of Oz. So I learned heaps about what to do and what not to do in terms of growing a consultancy. Yeah, it was heaps of fun. And so when I sold my shares out of that business, I guess I kind of looked around an industry that I love and didn't want to do the technical engineering thing anymore, but loved business growth, that sort of stuff. So set up my own coaching and advisory business. And that's what we do every day now, is we help engineering, town planning, surveying and architecture businesses grow their consultancies. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Awesome. What a journey. Yeah, it's funny how many people end up at the start of that journey with an offer on the table and no idea what it really means at the end of the day. So today we're talking about principals being the blocker in their practice, or how to grow when you're kind of the only one at the top. Obviously, you can bring people in. That's an option. But if you're not thinking about that, what is your next move? And what are the things that stop you being able to grow your business that you see?
There's really, and probably the biggest thing that I see is, particularly for founders, principals, people who kind of have built this thing from the ground up, it's their baby. People really struggle to let go and really struggle to trust other people can do it as good as them. Like, there's this mentality that I see, particularly founders, directors, business owners, when they hit a ceiling in growth or ceiling in profit or ceiling in revenue, there's usually like a mental thing there around, this is my baby. I can't trust other people in the team do it as good as me. This is my brand, my reputation. What if someone else stuffs it up? And a lot of that's fear. A lot of that's, wanting to keep things small, controlled. A lot of people in our industry are quote unquote perfectionists and want to get things right all the time. So the thought of giving a client relationship over to a senior member of their team, letting someone run with an entire project without them kind of being involved is quite scary. And so, yeah, the fear of letting go and the fear of like trusting others to do it as good as them is probably one of the main blocks that I see in terms of people being able to let go and focus on the big picture strategic direction of their business.
And is that the thing that you try and encourage your clients into? You're talking about fear and control and that whole letting go. How do you then coach someone or convince someone to let go a little bit of what they're holding on to move forward?
Yeah, there's a number of angles there. Like, there's a mindset piece, which is, we work with a lot of our clients on the mindset element. But there's the logical piece too. So the mindset is like fear, no one can do it as good as me. What if I let go and they stuff it up? But there's actually a really weird thing too, where sometimes we see business owners intentionally hire staff that are not as good as them because they don't want to be ever shown up by their staff or have someone else come into the business that's way better at them at a technical element. And then when you start to show business owners that they're actually hiring people to make them still feel good about themselves, they're like, I've been sabotaging my business. Like, I should be actually hiring people that are way better than me, because then I can just build myself out of those technical roles and I get to focus on what I love, which is growing the business. And I've got a whole team of, we call them eagles, not ducks, a whole team of eagles kind of running the technical elements of the projects, and the business owner gets to be freed up to do what they love. So yeah, there's the mindset piece, which is just helping step consultancy owners through that. Oh my gosh, I've been sabotaging myself. Now it's time to let go a bit. But like a really nice, logical thing to do is, and we run this with our boardroom members pretty regularly, is just two things. There's knowing your buyback rate. There's your buyback rate and your strategic alley rate. This is not my term. Dan Martell talks about this a lot in his book, Buy Back Your Time. Your buyback rate is simply your yearly salary divided by, I think it's 2,000, which is, I think, 48 weeks and 40 hours a week. I think that math roughly works out. And you get a buyback rate, which is anything less than that, you should be really looking to get other people to help support you in the business. So if your buyback rate's $100 an hour or $100 or $80 an hour, anything less than that, someone else should be helping do that for you in the business, freeing you up as the founder or the owner to focus on, higher value tasks in the business. And then the other thing is your strategic alley rate, which is essentially the profit in your business divided by how many hours a week you spend on big picture. And again, that just gives you a bit of a feel for, when you know those two numbers, really logically, you can start to go, what's a good use of my time versus what should I be getting some help with in the business?
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen a lot of kind of founders and principals get so stuck in the work that they really can't take that step back to look at the business strategically. How do you encourage people to make that time for themselves?
It's one of the first things that we focus on. Like, we have 3 core things that we focus on with our clients straight out of the gate, which is, we want to get them to 30% net profit margins, and we want to get them a day a week back to focus on big picture, so 8 hours a week, and we want to help them, their revenue kind of grow. To get that time back, it's really helping business owners see the value in that time, probably first and foremost, because a lot of the time, people who then run their own business or have been in quite senior roles, they've been trained and conditioned from being in the industry for so long that, like, a billable time on a timesheet equals value to the project, value to the company, therefore self-worth. So we're really conditioned to see billable time going onto a timesheet as self-worth and where we add value to the business. And then for business owners to step out of that mentality and actually go, you know what, actually having 2 days a week or a day a week of non-billable time on my timesheet is a really hard transition, because they can't see the value that immediately brings, because a lot of the time you've got short-term versus long-term in the business. Like, short-term is project comes in, need to deliver the project goes out and we invoice. And that's like short-term thinking. It's getting business owners to think, or principals in the business or founders to think more long-term. And it's harder for them to see an ROI on that bigger picture strategic time. So if we get them to a point where they do have a day a week back to spend on big picture strategy, a lot of that is working on their strategic plan. Where are they taking the business? Where's their industry going? Where are the opportunities? Who are the big players in terms of clients they'd love to, start to work with? And some of that stuff takes 12 to 18 to 24 months to actually come off. And so a lot of the times it's like helping business owners initially see that day a week is actually worth it, because they can't see it initially. There's like that, not that instant ROI. So that's the first place you've got to start, is helping see the value.
I see a lot of principals who spend all of their time trying to find the next job and win the next job, which is not, in my opinion, not working on the business. That's just creating new jobs and new opportunities. Do you agree with that? Like, is working on the business separate to just that client relation management sort of thing?
We often say that. So we track our clients what we call strategic time. And we often say, like, when they first start working with us, how many hours of work do you work on big picture strategic time? And they're like, oh, do you mean like fee proposals and that sort of stuff? I'm like, no. Fee proposals and winning work is business as usual. Like, that's kind of the day-to-day running of the business. There is a caveat to that, like, where if they're looking at where their market's going and they see an opportunity with a big player or a big client that they're not currently working with, that they want to start to lay some groundwork with and start to make some inroads, build a relationship, and that's for the future bigger picture strategic direction of the business, we kind of let them count that time towards business development into the strategic time. But yeah, most of the time we break the two apart. So like fee proposals, existing client sends you an email and goes, hey, Scott, can you give us a fee proposal for the next stage of X, Y, and Z? That's just kind of business as usual stuff. Whereas bigger picture strategic stuff's more like geographic diversification, mergers and acquisitions. Where's your market going? Where's my business going? How am I positioning, et cetera, et cetera.
Do you see that sort of situation play out any differently in the size of the business? Is it different in a 40-person firm to a 10-person firm, or is it sort of the same problem dressed up in different packaging?
We work with single founders through to, roughly sort of 10 million per year in revenue size. That's sort of 50 to 60 staff. There is a very real period where you're first starting out where everything is on you and the founder is wearing all the hats, marketing, BD, HR, everything. You get to a point where you've got team around you who can do stuff where it allows you to free you up to do more big picture things. There is a very real phase where you're single founder, you have to do everything. Like that's just the reality. And every big business started as a single founder. So like we constantly remind our, single business founders that every big business started where you are now. Yes, it's hard. And it's hard the whole way through. It's just a different kind of hard. As quickly as possible, we encourage our single owner founders to get admin support into the business. So whether that's like a virtual assistant or some admin support to just free up a lot of that day to day that they do. And it's just this constant like buying back your time.
Speaking of team, like you obviously have people working with you who are highly intelligent and often very aware what's happening in practice. How can you as a founder delegate that responsibility to others to kind of free up your time?
Yeah, I mean, it's all a process, right? Again, this is the mindset shift. Most founders like, no one can do it as good as me. It's all in my head. It's just quicker if I do it. It's too hard if I train someone else to do it. And that's all just like baloney. It's all limiting beliefs. Again, every 60-person business started as a single founder or a 6-person business. So it's just recognizing and working out and extracting from your own head. And this is where like we froth over systems and processes and just at a backbone of any good business, because we've got this saying in boardroom, 80% done by someone else is better than 100% done by me. So it's like going through a process and recognizing that, hey, maybe you're a 6-person or 8-person consultancy. You've got a couple of good senior people in the business and you want to start to train them in terms of how to take over fee proposals. It's about going down a path with them and going, okay, well, what's in my head? How do I write fee proposals? We encourage all our clients to do like screen recordings of them doing a fee proposal, but it's like looking for ways to get the stuff out of your head into a system or process. And then it's just training that person. So you might get that person to go, hey, Scott, here's a new fee proposals come in. I want you to watch the 3 or 4 video trainings I've done on fee proposals. Here's a fee proposal template. So you need to have one of those. Can you have a crack at that fee proposal? Come back, let's sit down, we'll go through it, and I'll give you some feedback. And they might get 60% right, then it's 70, then it's 80% right. Founders get frustrated that they spend this short-term time with their team when they could just be, quote unquote, doing it themselves. But it's like, you've got to look at the longer-term play in the business, which is, if I could train you to do fee proposals for me in 3 months' time, I won't have to do that anymore and I can focus on other things. So It's an iterative process. And even if they only get it to 80% right and you're still required for that final review, again, 80% done by someone else is better than 100% you.
Yeah, I always used to say do 10% up front and then shift 80% to the team and then finalize the last 10%. And that's kind of the polish to make sure that everything going out the door is to the standards that you kind of hold yourself to. You've probably worked with firms that kind of look healthy, they're busy, they've got a good reputation, decent revenue, but what problems or poor practices do you kind of come up against under the surface?
That's an awesome question. Again, we look at revenue growth, we look at profit, we look at founders' time. They're like the 3 things that we kind of measure religiously. So yeah, a firm can be busy but not profitable. And so a lot of the times when firms come and work with us, the revenue's good, they're growing, but yeah, the team's busy. But then you start to look under the hood around like profit margins, their systems, how many hours the team's working as well. And you start to realize, that there's a lot of efficiencies to be made there. If a firm comes to work with us and their margins are, our aim is to get all clients to 30% net profit. But if it's like sub 20, it's like, we're not going to focus on revenue growth because there's such an opportunity here. If we can get your profit margins from 8% to 16%, you don't need to do any more work, but you get double the ROI on your investment. I mean, to answer your question directly, I think systems and processes is a big one. A lot of firms don't have again, this is Dan Martell's terminology, but their business playbook, like how they want their business to run, the systems and processes and the core operating procedures that sit behind that. Because a lot of the times it's just been the founder going, oh, we'll just grab that fee proposal from the last project that we did and kind of tweak it and change it. She'll be right, send it out. So there's no processes. I'll just grab that from the last project. And that's kind of how they built their business.
Do you think there is a gap in people's financial understanding and like understanding how a business financially operates and what they should be targeting for? Do you run up against that issue?
Totally. We, as quickly as possible, try and get our clients quite commercially astute in terms of just knowing the big numbers in their business that they need to keep an eye on. One of the questions that we'll ask our clients is, okay, well, what's your net profit at the moment? Sometimes they don't know what net profit is. Sometimes they give us gross profit. There's a lot of commercial acumen that sometimes we need to teach our members. I paid a CFO of a 600-person consultancy to just create, I think it's a 10-page spreadsheet of just like, here are the 10 things that if you track regularly in your business, you'll be absolutely golden. Some of our clients give that spreadsheet to their accountant or their bookkeeper and go, can you start tracking my stuff like this? Because sometimes, business owners just want to do the cool project stuff. They started their business to do the cool project stuff, but what comes with running a business is all the other boring stuff, which is knowing your numbers and having to do all the things that you maybe sometimes don't want to do. So if we can simplify it and get our clients regularly tracking their numbers, just keeps their finger on the pulse in the business.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've run into that issue a fair few times. And it's just one of those things that we don't get taught at architecture school or engineering school. Like you get taught how to be an engineer and an architect, not a businessman. There's always that interesting transition between those two things. We were talking about trusts just before. You just brought it up again. I've seen a lot of times where founders have kind of given trust and then taken it back because it wasn't perfect or it wasn't to their expectation. How do you guide founders and principals through that kind of process of letting go a little bit more and like building trust with their teams?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. I think it starts with the hiring process. So making sure that you're hiring really good people who want to come into your business and learn, be part of the growth of the business. Like sometimes you'll hire people that are just like, I just want to kind of do my job. I expect everything to kind of be given to me and I'm not interested in helping the business kind of progress. For a lot of small to medium-sized business owners, that's the wrong hire. Like you want a good cultural fit, someone that's open, curious, willing to learn and willing to help evolve systems and processes with you as the business grows. So we encourage lots of our clients to do fortnightly or monthly, we call them business improvement sessions, where it's literally like the whole team gets together for an hour, 2 hours, half a day, whatever you want to do as a business and go, we're not doing technical work now, team, we're working on the business. So everyone, you're in charge of different aspects of the business in terms of your role. What system are you going to work on today? Like, what are you going to improve in the business? Again, most founders freak out because like, oh, the team needs to be billable all the time. But think about if your team is investing an hour, 2 hour, 4 hours a month on systems and processes and making the business better over a 6 to 12 month period of the team being invested in your systems. One, team culture is just awesome because everyone's building systems together and processes together. People own things too. Like again, the founder doesn't have to be across or responsible for certain systems like other people in the team are. And the business just grows so much quicker because of that. I guess to answer your question, it's bringing people along for the journey and the ride. And then just being open and curious as a founder to go, my way is not the only way, and just letting other people take ownership over stuff.
I think the business improvement sessions is a great idea. Do you encourage your clients to bring everyone into those? I can imagine me pitching this to a principal and then being like, it's only senior staff. Like, do you think it's good to get everybody involved?
I think if you've got a 180-person firm, probably not everyone, but like in our business, we have everyone, and lots of our clients' businesses who is 10, 15, 20 people, it is everyone because everyone is responsible. We run a fully remote business. We get together on Zoom. So we even do this for our business. We get together on Zoom once a fortnight and we do little breakout rooms where, sales team will go this way. They'll work on their systems and processes. The coaching team will go this way and work on their processes. So I think the more the better. Because again, if you think from a cultural point of view, people getting left out of that kind of does more damage than including them for a 2-hour session on systems and processes.
And I think there's so many different ways you can go about kind of running those sorts of sessions. We just did one at Total Synergy where we were thinking about like, how is AI going to impact how we work internally? And it was so fun because you get to understand a little bit about things that you don't do. You get to meet some new people that you may not have worked with before. I'm a big advocate for that one. Yeah. Such a fun idea. What do you do if you're an associate or senior associate and you see your director kind of be that bottleneck? How do you kind of approach that conversation or provide them with support to then allow them or encourage them to, let go a little bit?
Oh man, that's loaded.
Sorry.
No, I think it depends on the founder and whether they're open to receiving that. I just think sometimes honesty is the best policy, which is, hey boss, or hey Mr. and Mrs. Founder, I can see that you're really overwhelmed. I've got some capacity. I'd love to help you. If they're open to receiving that sort of stuff, I think you should go for it in terms of just like having the conversation. I'd love to help free up some of your time. I can see you're really still working on a lot of project stuff. I'd love to take this project over from you because, I don't know, last time you talked at the strategic planning update meeting, you got really excited about the things that you were going to focus on. And I could see you haven't really got to that. So just as long as they're open to it, go for it.
If someone's listening and kind of recognizing themselves as that person in their firm, the blocker, what do you recommend people do first? Like, what's step one?
If they have just developed awareness that they are the bottleneck in the business, we encourage our boardroom clients to do this on a weekly, fortnightly, monthly basis, but it's like a weekend review, right? Sometimes our clients do this daily, but it's like, what did I do this week? And you just break it down into all the things that I did this week. And then it's having an awareness of, we call it high value time, low value time. So like, what's the highest dollar value activities that I bring to the business? What's low value activities for me? So for founders and sort of senior people, it's like strategic direction, it's business development, client relationships, it's leading the team, that sort of thing. If you're doing that on a weekly basis, it's just like literally you do a brain dump of all the stuff that you've done this week, like red highlighter, green highlighter, and you just literally highlight green, the stuff that is high value time for you. Orange is the low value time. And you just get a very clear, unemotional snapshot of your week and go, damn, I'm actually spending a heap of time here on low value stuff for me. And then what we encourage our clients to do is just go, who else on the team could help me with this? And make a plan to start to delegate that. Or does all of this form like a PD for a new hire in the business? Maybe it's an executive assistant, maybe it's an admin role, maybe it's a new project engineer or something like that. But I think if you've just developed that awareness that, crap, I am the bottleneck, just doing that weekend review or that kind of regular, where am I spending my time? What's high value? What's low value? How do I get my weeks to at least 80% high value work and 20% low value work? And then what's my plan to do that is a really good way to start.
That's such a good idea. Just like having your calendar there and kind of highlighting what you've done and what you can hand off. Yeah, that really just opens up the floodgates of, do we need more people or a specific person? Or can I actually delegate some of this to the team and actually help them to develop and things along those lines?
And like now in the world of AI, it's like, what could I build an agent? Can I build a workflow for that to help support me? Maybe it's not a hire. Maybe it's using, particularly if it's like process driven or admin. Can I build something AI to support me with this? Absolutely.
I've been playing around with that a lot at the moment. Just been like, where could I use AI in practice?
Yeah, we've just started running a bunch of sessions for our clients because there's so much overwhelm out there at the moment around like things are moving so quick. Which platform do I use for this? And we've just gone for our clients, let's just take all the overwhelm out. Every fortnight we're running new sessions. We built some apps with everyone last week, which was cool and heaps of fun. And everyone walked away after an hour with a whole bunch of apps built for their business. So like, yeah, there's a lot going on.
Do you think that there is an appetite for it, or are people more apprehensive about AI?
I addressed this with our first All Things AI session. I think you've got to look at the agenda that's been pushed and who is pushing. Like certainly AI is here. It's only going to get better, more powerful. The reality for our industry is someone doing basic structural design or analysis of a building or what have you, that'll be done by an agent or AI in probably 3 years. So you've got to know where this thing's heading and start to pivot your business or build the right foundations in your business to prepare for that. So I don't think it's going away. And I think we do need to be prepared and being smart now. But I can't stand all the marketing that's out there at the moment around, if you don't adopt AI, your business is going to be dead. And like there's lots of people saying by the end of 2026, if you don't have AI in your business, you'll be bankrupt. Then you look at who they actually are. And they're like people who are promoting, we've just built a new AI bot to do X, Y, and Z. So they're using fear, and it's really working. They're using fear to kind of sell their product. When I think, and this is what we've adopted for our boardroom members, is just, we're okay. Yes, AI is here. Let's just understand what's required for your business. How can we build a layer of AI into it to help you get the right foundations in place? And let's just stay across it as it kind of grows. So yeah, there's a lot to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I was having a chat with someone about their practice recently and just saying, like, the first thing you need to do is not find a ChatGPT or a Claude. It's to make sure that you have some solid processes and procedures in place and you have that groundwork. Because if you start bringing in AI, then people are just going to make up their own way of doing things, or the AI will tell you a way of doing things. And you don't know if that is necessarily better if you don't have something to standardize it against. We're almost out of time. Is there anything else you wanted to cover off, and where can people reach you if they're interested in working with you?
We're most active on LinkedIn. So just on our LinkedIn profile, easiest way is just to book in a conversation with someone from our team.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate your time.
You too, dude. Talk to you soon.
What I really took from this one is how simple a lot of this actually is, but how hard it is to do in practice. Knowing your numbers, buying back your time, building people and systems instead of holding everything together yourself. If you're listening and you recognize yourself in any of this, Josh's suggestion is simple. Do that calendar audit this week. Highlight what's high value, highlight what isn't, and ask yourself honestly, who else could do this? You can find Josh and his team at Ignite Coaching, and we'll link everything in the show notes below. If you found this useful, share it and subscribe to the podcast. We'll see you next time.